Hello, good morning friends. So I welcome you into this class, and I hope you remember what we have studied in the last class. We are studying about the judiciary system in India, how the courts are functioning, what is the importance of courts in our country, and we said one of the most important characteristic of the Indian judiciary is that it is independent. The judiciary is independent, therefore the legislative or the executive, they do not try to control or try to influence the activities of judiciary. Therefore they are able to deliver a fair judgment and to everyone, whether it is a rich person or poor person, powerful person or unpowerful person, everybody is able to get equal justice in our country. That is the importance, or that's the most special characteristic of the judiciary in India. Now, today let us see about what is the structure of the courts in India. You know, we have so many courts. On topmost we have Supreme Court. Below that there are district courts, special courts, High Court, all that. So we will study what is such a structure in India. You can take your textbook number, page number 57, the structure of the courts in India. There are three different levels of courts in our country. So we have how many levels of courts? We have three levels of courts in our country. We have three levels. So there are several courts at the lower level, while there is only one at the apex level. So the top level we said Supreme Court is there. So Supreme Court is a higher most court in our country. So we can, and as we come down, we have many in the lower levels. There are many higher number of courts are there. So every state has got one each high court, and every district has got one each high court. So we can say the structure of judiciary in India is something like a pyramid. You know what is pyramid? Top part is sharp, pointed, and as it comes down, it becomes broader and broader. So it is something like a pyramid. So it is something like this. The topmost is, there is only one court, that is Supreme Court. Supreme Court, there is only one court, and that is the highest judgment in the country is given by Supreme Court. If Supreme Court has given a verdict, then nobody can question the Supreme Court. That verdict will be the final. Then the courts that most people interact with are what are called subordinate or district courts. So below that there is High Court, and below that there is District Court. So most of the people go to this District Court. They have small cases, small issues, therefore they go to this District Court. And if District Court verdict they are not satisfied, they can go to High Court. And if they are not happy with the High Court decision, they can go to Supreme Court. So up to Supreme Court they can go. That is the structure. So even if you are denied justice here, you can go here. If it is denied here, then again you can go up. That will be the final. So the courts that most people interact with are called subordinate or district courts. So most of the people are coming here only. They are not going up much. The majority of the cases are settled here in the district court. These are usually at the district or tehsil level or in the town, and they hear many kinds of cases. Each state is divided into districts that are presided over by a district judge. And each state has a high court, which is the highest court of that state. And at the top is the Supreme Court, that is located in New Delhi and is presided over by the Chief Justice of India. So Supreme Court, there is one justice called Chief Justice Chief Justice of India. So he is the leader. There are many judges are there in the Supreme Court, but Chief Justice of India is the highest one. He will be the final authority. Then every district will have one each court, that will be called High Court, and there also many judges will be there. So he will be called Justice of High Court or Judge of High Court. And here every district will have one each court, and that will be called District Judge. But every district in our country there is no court as such, but it may be some small centers. Very often it is DC who is acting as a judge as well. In most of our northeastern states, we don't have high courts or district court every district, but the DC is given that power to make the correct judgments and deliver justice to the people. So you can see in your picture also, that is the shape of the high court or the judiciary in our country. Top was Supreme Court, and as we come down, there are many states, there will be many high courts. There will be so many districts, and therefore there will be so many courts as well. So as we come down, the number of courts are increasing. Then are these different levels of courts connected to each other? So we said we have so many types of courts: Supreme Court, High Court, District Court, and so on. Are they connected each other? Let us see. Yes, they are connected. In India, we have an integrated judicial system, meaning that the decisions made by higher courts are binding on lower courts. So our judiciary is integrated, means interconnected. So if Supreme Court is making a verdict or a judgment, others also have to follow that. So same system should be, or same law should be applied. So High Court cannot say Supreme Court will judge what they like, I will judge what I like. They cannot say. So if any case Supreme Court has given a judgment, then that same style or same law should be applied when other High Court or District Court also hear the law, hear the case, petition. So they are interconnected. And another way to understand this integration is through the appellate system that exists in India. So there is a appellate system, that is the system that is connected to each other. This means that a person can appeal to a higher court if they believe that judgment passed by the lower court is not just. So they are connected to each other, they are not independent. So if district court has given a verdict, then the person does not feel happy, so he can go to High Court. The High Court will hear that case again. High Court will not say whatever the District Court said is okay, that is over, no more. You cannot say. If somebody gives appeal, then they have to hear. That is called the appellate system in India. They are connected to each other. They are depending on each other. Nobody is complete in itself. Only Supreme Court is complete in itself. So if District Court makes a verdict, High Court can change that decision again. If High Court makes a decision or a verdict, Supreme Court can change it again. And if Supreme Court makes a decision, then nobody else can change it. That is the highest authority in our country, and nobody can change that. So that is called appellate system. We can underline what is the meaning of appellate system. So this means that a person can appeal to a higher court if they believe that the judgment passed by the lower court is not just. So go for higher appeal in the higher court. So let us understand what we mean by appellate system in tracking a case. So there was a case that happened in India. So let us see how the court was hearing that case and giving the judgment, and then we will understand better what is appellate system. So there was a case called State, that is Delhi administration. So State versus Lakshman Kumar and others. So there was a case and the case was between the Delhi state or Delhi government and what is another person? Lakshman Kumar. So Lakshman Kumar gave a petition against the state. That happened in 1985. From the lower courts to the Supreme Court. So lower court gave a verdict. The High Court gave a verdict, and so they were not happy. So they went to the Supreme Court. Let us see what was the case between them. In February 1980. Lakshman Kumar married 20-year-old Sudha Goyal and they lived in a flat in Delhi with the Lakshman's brothers and their families. So, this Lakshman, he was living in Delhi and then he married a girl and she was 20 years old and they were all living together in Lakshman's house together with their brothers and families. On 2nd December 1980, Sudha died in hospital due to burns. So, after her marriage, Sudha got burnt and she died. So, how that burning took place or how that accident took place. So, her family filed a case in the court. So, Sudha died with a fire and her parents thought it is not just accident, maybe somebody is trying to kill her. Therefore, her parents went to the court and filed a case that their daughter is killed by someone, put fire. And when this case was heard in the trial court, 4 of her neighbors were called in as witness. So, when the case was heard in the special trial court, they called 4 people from that neighboring house. Those who heard some sound, those who heard, or those who had some idea about how this accident happened and so. The court called them, you come and tell us. That is called witness. Those who had seen it or those who had heard about it. So come and tell us. So they were called as a witness. And they started that on the night of December 1, they had heard Sudha scream and had forced her way into Lakshman's flat. So, they said the previous day of her death, she died on 2nd December. So, the 1st December night, they heard Sudha was screaming. Screaming means crying with a loud voice. And they forced their way into Lakshman's flat. So, when they heard that this Sudha is crying, something is wrong, they understood. And they tried to enter into Lakshman's house, Lakshman's flat. There they saw Sudha with her sari in flames. And they saw Sudha was standing there and she was wearing sari and all the sari was on flames. It was burning. They extinguished the fire by wrapping Sudha in gunny bag and blanket. So they tried to help her to put off that fire. Her body is burning, her dress is burning. So they covered her with sacks and other blankets and so on, and so that the fire was put off. Sudha told them that her mother-in-law, Shagundala, had poured kerosene oil on her and that her husband Lakshman had lit the fire. So before dying, this Sudha told these people who came to help her that it is not an accident. Her mother-in-law Shagundala poured kerosene oil on her body and her husband Lakshman lighted the fire and burned her. During the trial, members of Sudha's family and a neighbor started that Sudha had been subjected to torture by her in-laws and that they were demanding more cash, a scooter and a fridge on the birth of the first child. So, some more people came and told the court that they have more information about this incident. They said Sudha had been subject to torture. That means they were persecuting her, torturing her, beating her, abusing her, shouting her, scolding her, all kinds of problems she had. So she was abused by her in-laws, mother-in-laws, brother-in-laws, sister-in-law and so on. And why they were persecuting her? Because they wanted more cash. They are telling, go home and bring more money from your parents. Bring fridge, bring a scooter, all these things, go home and bring all these things. And if you don't bring, we will beat you, we will scold you, we will shout you, all that things. And as part of their defense, Lakshman and his mother stated that Sudha's sari had accidentally caught fire while she was heating milk. So the people who witnessed, they came and said, Sudha told them that mother-in-law poured kerosene on her and her husband lit the fire. But the Lakshman and his mother, they came and told the court, we did not do anything. She was boiling milk and her sari by chance caught fire from the kitchen, from the stove. That is what they are telling. So on the basis of this and other evidence, the trial court convicted Lakshman, his mother Shakuntala and his brother-in-law Subhash Chandra and sentenced all three of them to death. So the court heard their arguments and the court was completely convinced that what Lakshman and his mother are telling are lies. What happened really was Sudha was killed by Lakshman and his mother and so on. So the court gave verdict, the trial court has gave the verdict that three of them, Lakshman, his mother and his brother-in-law Subhash Chandra Bose. So these three of them should be sentenced to death, capital punishment. They will be hanged to death. That is a punishment given to them. So then we can say they got justice from the trial court. So it was in the trial court, not high court. Below that it was another special court called trial court. So the court gave three of them capital punishments. Then in November 1983, the three accused went to the High Court to appeal against the verdict of the trial court. So these three, they were given capital punishment and they are not happy. Therefore, they went to High Court. They went for High Court. Filed a case again that the trial court's judgment is not enough, not happy. So they went to High Court. So the court, after hearing the arguments of all the lawyers, decided that Sudha had died due to an accident fire caused by the kerosene stove. Lakshman, Shakuntala and Subhash Chandra were acquitted. So the High Court heard their argument and at the end of hearing the arguments, they said, true, what Lakshman and his mother are telling are true. Sudha died, not somebody killed her, but she died by accident. While she was boiling the milk, her sari caught fire from the stove and she died in that fire. So again they are acquitted. So by the trial court, three of them supposed to be put to death. But High Court said, no, you did not kill Sudha. Sudha died by accident. So all the three of you are free. You will not be punished. That is the verdict of the High Court. So they were acquitted. Acquitted means set free. So you may remember the photo essay on the women's movement in class 7 book. You read about how in 1980, women's groups across the country spoke out against dowry death. So the last year's class, I hope you remember that you studied about women who died due to dowry death. That the husband's family is demanding you go home and bring more money. The money that the girl is bringing is called dowry after her marriage. So many people want more and more money, so they will persecute the girl, go home and bring more money. And if they don't bring, they will be beaten, they will be scolded every time, they may be put to fasting, not given proper food and so on. So it is very bad system, the dowry system, and many women or many girls have died because of this dowry system. I hope you remember what you learned last year. So they protested against the failure of courts to bring these cases to justice. And the above High Court judgment deeply troubled women, and they had held demonstrations and filed a separate appeal against this High Court decision in the Supreme Court through the Indian Federation of Women Lawyers. So when these three of them were set free by the High Court, saying that you did not kill Sudha, Sudha died by herself, all the women in the country, they were so unhappy. All were very sure that Sudha was killed by her husband and her mother-in-law and so on. But the High Court says no, they did not do anything wrong, they can go. So women were unhappy. So there was an organization of the women called Indian Federation of Women Lawyers. So all those Indian women lawyers. So there are many women also becoming lawyers. So they all joined together and they said, we will go to Supreme Court. So we are not satisfied. We are not happy that they are set free. We will go to Supreme Court. So in 1985, the Supreme Court heard this appeal against the acquittal of Lakshman and the other two members of his family. So after 2 years, they took up this case. Supreme Court heard. So they are not taking it immediately. It took time. And after 2 years, in 1985, Supreme Court is going to hear that case again. Let us see what is the verdict of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court heard the arguments of the lawyers and reached a decision that was different from that of the High Court. So, Supreme Court heard this case and they took a decision at the end that was different from what the High Court took. High Court took that all the three can go free. Supreme Court was different again. They found Lakshman and his mother guilty but acquitted the brother-in-law Subhash because they did not have enough evidence against him. So, Supreme Court said the two are guilty. Here trial court said three of them are guilty. High Court said nobody is guilty. And the Supreme Court says two are guilty. Lakshman and his mother, they both are guilty. But the brother-in-law Subhash, he can go free. We have no evidence that he has done this mistake. So he can go free. And the Supreme Court decided to send the accused to prison for life. So what punishment Supreme Court gave? Imprisonment for life. They said you are punished or you are sentenced for life. So life sentence means it is usually 12 years. 12 years in the jail, that is called life imprisonment. So you see the difference here. The trial court said all of them should be put to death, hanged to death. High Court said all of them can go free. And Supreme Court said two of them will be put into jail for 12 years. Third one can go free. So which one? All the three courts are giving different judgments. And which one is accepted? The final? Supreme Court one is final and nobody can challenge that. That is final. So that is how we can go from court to court for challenging the verdict or the judgment if you feel that it is not happy or you are not satisfied. Now let's see what are the different branches of the legal system. So it has got different branches. Our legal system has got different branches. Let us see. The above case of the dowry death falls within what is considered a crime against society. So this girl Sudha was killed because she did not bring more money from her home. Scooter, fridge, all these things she did not bring. Therefore they killed her. So that is called dowry death. And it is a crime against society. So totally entire society is affected because dowry. If one fellow has to bring dowry, then other women also have to bring. So it becomes an evil against a society and is a violation of criminal law. So criminal law says that you have no right to punish others. If you have any problem, you can complain against him or against her in the police station, but you cannot punish that person. That is criminal law. So in addition to criminal law, the legal system also deals with civil law cases. So there are also another type of law called civil law. So we learned about two laws, criminal law as well as civil law. And how you read in chapter 4 how a new civil law was passed in 2006. to protect women against domestic violence. So in the 2000, the class 4, I hope you remember, though it is since 4 years ago you studied, that Parliament had passed a law in order to protect the women of the country. Then, so let us see, there's a column is given there, the difference between criminal law and civil law. So what is the difference? First difference is, criminal law deals with conduct or acts that law defines as offences. For example, theft, harassing a woman to bring more dowry, murder, and so on. So if you are doing something that is against the law says don't do this, and if you are doing that, then you are making a mistake and you will be punished according to the criminal law. But in the case of civil law, it deals with any harm or injury to rights of individuals. For example, disputes relating to sale of land, purchase of goods, rent matters, divorce cases, and so on. So, in the criminal law, you are doing harm to a person, but in the civil law, you are doing harm to his rights. For example, he has got a right to live in peace. A person, every citizen has got a right to live in peace. But you go and shout at him every day from the road. You scolding him, you always speaking bad against him, spreading the rumors that he is that bad person, he is a bad person, like that. Then civil law will be applied. You are not doing any physical harm to that person, but you are violating his right. His right to live in peace is disturbed. Or he has got right to work, and you are trying to put some block, not giving him job, not allowing him to work, then civil law will be applied, because you are not doing physical harm on that person, but you are violating his rights. So I hope you understood. In the criminal law, you are doing harm to a person, you are beating a person, you are killing a person, and so on. That is criminal law. But if you are blocking a person from living his life, then that is civil law. Then the second difference is, it usually, that is, the criminal law usually begins with lodging of an first information report, that is FIR, with the police who investigate the crime, after which a case is filed in the court. So, if you want to do with or deal with the criminal law, or against somebody has beaten you, or somebody has tried to kill you, then what you have to do? You have to go to the nearest police station and you have to file an FIR. What is the meaning of full form of FIR? First information or report. You have to file an FIR to the police that such and such fellow is doing harm to me, attacking me, and so on. Then police will inquire. Police will go to that place and meet that person and ask him, did you do this, did you do this? He will inquire, or the police may inquire to other neighboring place people also. They will inquire and try to find out if there is any case or not. But in the civil case, civil law, a petition has to be filed before the relevant court by affected party only. So in a rent matter, either the landlord or tenant can file a case. So in the case of a civil law, somebody is breaking the civil law, then you don't have to go to the police station, but directly you go to the court and file a petition there to the judge. That is the difference. If somebody is violating the criminal law, then you go to the police station and file a complaint. But if somebody is violating the civil law, then you don't go to the police station, but you directly go to the court and file a case. And who can file a case? Suppose you are staying in a rent house. That means the landlord or the tenant, anybody can file a case. Either that house owner can go and file a case in the court, or one who is staying there in that house for rent, he can go and file a case. Anybody can file a case there. Then the third difference is, in the criminal law, if found guilty, the accused can be sent to jail and also fined. So the police will inquire about it and file a case in the court, and the court will give judgment after listening to the lawyers. And then if they are found guilty, if they have done some mistake, then the court will punish them. Either he will be sent to jail, or if it is murder case and so he can be put to death, or he may be given fine, the cash, maybe he has to pay 50 lakhs fine or 1 crore fine, like that. So depending on the seriousness of the situation or the case, the court will give the verdict. But if it is a civil law, what happens? The court gives the specific relief asked for. For instance, in a case between a landlord and a tenant, the court can order the flat to be vacated and pending rent to be paid. Suppose a person is staying in a rent house and the owner of the house says, go away, vacate this house, I don't want you to stay here again. Then the tenant can go and give case in the court. I came to stay here 1 year and now only 6 months are over or 8 months are over, he is asking me to get out. So the court will hear the verdict and say, so you have stayed up to this many months, so pay rent only after that. No need to pay for the whole year. Then we can move on. So appropriate decisions or verdict will be given by the court. So that is the difference between criminal law and civil law. So we can read again and understand nicely. Examples are also given there, and if you have any doubt, let's clarify it again. So with the end of this, with the winding up, with this topic we shall wind up, and we shall meet you again in the next day with another topic connected with the court. How can we go to the court? We said if you have any problem, we can go to the court and the court will give judgment. So some of us are ignorant, we don't know how to behave in the court, we don't know how to go to the court, what is the steps. So let us see all that in the next class. Okay, bye.